Have you noticed that Dunkin' Donuts is now just Dunkin'? I'm diving into a Dunkin's rebrand, and even if you don't have $100 million to spend, because that is how much they spent, we're going to break down their strategy and some lessons that you can apply to your own business. This rebrand wasn't just a new logo or dropping one part of their name. It was about staying relevant in a changing market. We're going to talk about repositioning your brand to stay fresh without losing who you are at your core. Let's dive in. First of all, why would a company with such strong name recognition decide to drop donuts from its name? Well, it all comes down to strategy. Dunkin' recognized that people's habits were changing. They were paying attention to the data. People weren't just coming in for donuts anymore. They were looking for a quick caffeine fix, a grab-and-go breakfast, or even sometimes a midday pick-me-up. The company saw an opportunity to position itself as more than just a donut shop. They wanted to be seen as a premier beverage-led on-the-go brand. Obviously, to compete with Starbucks. Here's where it gets interesting. Dunkin' didn't just throw out everything and start from scratch. They were smart about it, obviously. They kept key elements that made their brand instantly recognizable, like their fonts and colors. At the same time, they modernized other aspects of their brand. They redesigned their stores to be more inviting and efficient. They put a bigger emphasis on their beverage offerings, like expanded their menu. And they even introduced a mobile order drive-through lane. I mean, talk about convenience. Now, you might be wondering, okay, but did all of this work? The short answer is yes, it did. Dunkin' reported increased revenue and, perhaps more importantly, increased brand relevance. They managed to evolve with changing preferences of their customers while still holding on to their core identity. People obviously still knew it was Dunkin', but now people started to see it as more than just a donut shop. Evolution doesn't always mean abandoning your roots. It's about building on your strengths and adapting to meet the changing needs of your people. Dunkin' didn't become a completely different brand. They became a better version of themselves. Now that we've kind of looked quickly at what Dunkin' did, let's break it down a little bit further. When we talk about changing a brand, we often use two terms, rebranding and repositioning. Rebranding is the facelift. It's all about changing how your brand looks and feels to the outside world. Logos, colors, fonts, packaging, all the fun visuals that makes your brand recognizable and the fun stuff that people love to play around with. When you see a rebranded company, you might think, wow, they look so different. I love or hate their logo. On the other hand, repositioning is more about changing how people think about your brand. It's not just about looks, it's about shifting your place in the market, in the niche, in the industry that you're in, and how customers relate to you. When a brand successfully repositions, you might think, I never thought of them in that way before. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. They didn't just pick one approach. They actually went for both. On the rebranding front, Dunkin' made some obvious changes. They dropped donuts from their name, updated their packaging a little bit, and gave their stores a fresh new look. These changes weren't just for fun. They were designed to make the brand feel more modern and relevant. But the real magic happened with the repositioning. Dunkin' wasn't content with being seen as just a donut shop anymore. They wanted to be your go-to place for, again, a quick coffee or breakfast. Again, trying to compete with Starbucks. This wasn't just about looking different. It was about changing what people expect when they think of Dunkin'. Here's why all of this matters for you as a small business owner. Rebranding and repositioning often go hand in hand, but they serve different purposes. And recognizing which one you need, or if you do actually need both, sometimes you don't, can be a game changer. Maybe your logo and website, notice I said both because your brand is more than a logo, are starting to feel dated or amateur. That might call for a rebrand. Or perhaps you've expanded your services, but customers and clients still think of you as the same way they did 5 years ago, as just a VA instead of an OBM, or just the person who makes my meal plans, not a registered dietitian. That's where repositioning comes in. You need to take a good hard look at your business and ask yourself, does my brand's appearance truly reflect who I am and what I offer? And then ask, does my positioning in my industry align with where we want to be? And I want to dig a little bit deeper into the lessons that you as a small business owner can apply to your own brand. Because remember, you don't need a multi-million-dollar budget. It's just about being strategic and intentional. You can evolve without losing your core identity. Dunkin did a great job of modernizing their brand while keeping who they really were intact. But then they also expanded their focus to align with the changing needs and preferences of their customers. Sometimes you need to stay true to who you are. Sometimes you need to evolve fully away from where you're at. This is really different for everyone and everyone's situation. The next lesson is simplifying your brand. Dunkin made a bold move by dropping donuts from their name. This simplification made their brand more versatile and better aligned with their expanded focus on beverages and quick meals. Look for ways to streamline your brand. This doesn't necessarily mean changing your name. It could mean simplifying your messaging or updating your visual branding. Again, ask yourself, is my current branding trying to say too much? Could I communicate my value proposition more clearly or concisely? Less is more when it comes to branding. The next lesson is focusing on the customer or the client experience, especially. Dunkin didn't just change their name and call it a day. They invested in the new store designs and in technology to enhance that customer experience. They recognize that brand perception is shaped by every single interaction a customer has with the business. You and I may not have a storefront, but here's what you can do. Map out your customer's journey from the moment they first hear about your business to after they've made a purchase or, signed a contract. Where are the pain points? Where are the opportunities to delight? And even small changes like improving the website user experience, streamlining your checkout process or onboarding process can make a big difference in how customers perceive and interact with your brand. I want to leave you with a few questions to ponder. These are designed to help you apply what we've learned to your own business. You can grab a pen or pause what you're doing for a moment and just think about these. First, ask yourself, is my brand still aligned with my goals? Think about where your business is heading or where you want it to head in the next year and the next 5 years. Does your current branding reflect that direction? How can you simplify your brand to make it more versatile? Remember how Dunkin dropped donuts to broaden their appeal? Not saying you need to appeal to everybody, but is there anything you are too attached to? Is there something that really needs to be let go from your brand? Third, are you meeting your customers' expectations? The world is changing rapidly, and so are your clients' needs and preferences, and again, expectations. How can you enhance their experience both in person, if there is any element of that, and online? Now I want to get into the heart of your brand. What values are you communicating? Your brand is more than just a logo or a tagline, more than a website. It's a representation of your mission and your values. So take a moment to think about, does the branding really represent what you stand for and what you want to be known for, what you want to be associated? Lastly, do you need to focus on rebranding or repositioning, or do you need both? Remember, rebranding is about the looks, the visuals, while repositioning is about changing how you are perceived. Which approach aligns better with your current business and your goals? Goals either near or far. These questions obviously can't be answered, in 5 minutes, but they're meant to start a conversation with yourself, your spouse, your partner, your team, maybe even your customers. The key is to keep evolving, just like Dunkin did, but in a way that makes sense to you and your business. Again, you don't need a multi-million-dollar budget to make some impactful changes. What you need is a clear understanding of your brand, your clients and customers, and really where you want to go. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode. I hope these insights from Dunkin's rebranding journey have given you some food for thought, or coffee for thought, I should say. I would love to hear from you. If you have any questions or insights that you want to share, you can DM me on Instagram at justcreatives. Otherwise, I will see y'all next time.